What is up? It is your girl Tia Joy. Hey, well, welcome to everyone who is watching today's video, to all my returners, my subscribers, newcomers. What is up? I hope you all have been having a wonderful week, such as I have been. A lot of process and changes and stuff and all that jazz. So if you have not seen yet last week's video, I did an eyeshadow tutorial on Footloose, which is a lot of fun. So make sure you go and check that video out, plus my other eyeshadow videos, because as you can see, I love eyeshadows. Me and eyeshadows work great. This was the Wahala, the first one. Matter of fact, so I may do an eyeshadow tutorial on this one, but this was a lot of fun. But anyway, today's review I'm going to talk about is King Richard. But before I get into that, I need you to do a couple of things. So first things first, I do have some books available for you, and so make sure you go and you purchase those, which is my Make Wise Choices journal, Make Wise Choices notebook, and my Make Wise Choices planner for 2022, so that way you can be ahead of the game. Plus, I also released and have some financial books, so if you want to get more into managing your money and just starting with the basics, I have those available for you. And plus, I also have a book on tithes and offering and first fruit or special giving. If you're into that and you need a tracker book, I have all those available, so make sure you check out that. I'll have all of them in the description box, so you can go and click and make sure you get that today, so you can start off this year correctly. But not only that, I need you to do something else. I need you to hit that subscribe button, become part of the fam, and also hit the bell and turn that notification on, honey, so that way you'll be instantly notified when I upload a new video. So King Richard, so it came out last year, and it's such a really great movie. There is just a lot of things that I've learned. So just in case you don't know what it's about a father who pretty much is the father of Venus and Serena Williams, and if you know them, they are the most famous tennis players in the world. And so just to see their journey of how they got to where they are now is such a joy to watch, because sometimes you see a lot of celebrities and people in the either entertainment, sports, news, whatever you see, there's always a story that you just don't know. And the fact that they did a story on these sisters, but mostly it was really about the father, of how he shaped and molded his girls to be where they are now, I think it's just super powerful and wonderful. And so there are some lessons that I have from the movie that I definitely want to dive into instantly. So let's get straight into it. And matter of fact, all of the actors did an amazing job. Will Smith, he did such a phenomenal job playing Richard Williams, so I just definitely want to put that out there. But anyway, so I learned, there's 5 things that I learned from this movie that I just think is really great, and hopefully it'll be inspirational to you to learn, as well as you're going on your journey to whatever goal success that you have for yourself. So the first thing I learned is stick to the plan. And I think that's just super important, that first of all, we have a plan and we write it down and stick to it no matter what. And one thing that I note about this movie is he had a plan for his girls, and he also wanted his girls to know that, to have a plan too. What are your plans? What are your goals as far as tennis? As far as education? He really wanted to make sure his girls do not go through what a lot of people in the neighborhood have gone through, which is get into trouble and picking the wrong friends. He really wanted them to stay focused. So having a plan was really great. But also another thing about the plan that you have is not everyone's going to really understand. So with Richard, he had a plan for his family, and not everyone understood it. Matter of fact, even the neighbor was getting mad, like, oh, you're so mean to these girls, you don't give them a life. But he's like, there's a plan that I have for my kids and for my family, because we are going to change the world. He knew it, and even though he took his girls out of the junior tournaments, and they're like, why would you do that? He said, I have a plan. So he stuck to the plan no matter what. And so I thought that's very powerful for us to learn, is if you have a plan, stick to it no matter what the obstacle is. Even though he got beat up, which was crazy, it was such a norm that they were like, oh, dad got beat up again, because he had a plan and he never lost sight of it, no matter what anyone told him or his girls or what they faced. So I absolutely love that. The second thing I learned is to stay humble. I thought it was very cool that he used the Disney, which was great because Disney have amazing lessons. I don't care what anyone says. Disney has some amazing life lessons. And I love the fact that he let the girls watch Cinderella because he wanted them to learn, like, even though you're great and you're amazing, and I've been telling you this and you're saying it to yourself, but one thing you have to do is stay humble, which is something that we all should learn no matter what. And that fact that Cinderella, which is a really good lesson, because even though people were treating her wrong, even though her stepsisters and her stepmom was so mean to her, she still was nice. And for me to still be nice to people, like, the first thing I want to do is get vengeance. And God knows, like, ain't nobody got time to be rude to me, talking down to me, and make me feel like I ain't nothing and worthless. Like, nah. But no matter what, Cinderella still stayed humble. She still loved anyway. She still did what she needed to do. And I'm just putting that out there. As much as you are of living life and knowing that when you do wrong there's consequences, but to be honest, doing right has consequences too. And trust and believe, I understand that it's hard when you're doing what's right, when you're sticking to your plan, when you're doing what you're supposed to do and showing kindness even though people are mean and rude to you. There's a consequence for that too. And there's times where it's like, ooh, like, if people test me, like, don't let me go gang, like, ooh, like, there's times you want to get vengeance, but you still got to do what's right, because if you don't, there's consequences if you turn it around and get vengeance, because two wrongs don't make a right no matter what. So it's hard doing what's right too, but also it's a choice. So even though you making this choice of doing right, it's a choice, and there's consequences with it too. But at the end of the day, it's great that you don't get vengeance, because those who do wrong, eventually it'll turn back in their face. And that's what happened with Cinderella. But staying humble and doing what's great is always great. And he also wanted his girls, he didn't want them to talk bad about the other players. He said, don't talk about no other tennis players. I don't want to hear it. Like, even though you're great and you know it, don't brag and down everybody else around you because of your status. He still wanted them to be great and feel good about themselves, but he didn't want to get to a place where they become prideful and tear everybody else down because they know how great they are. So I love that he brought that to their attention. The third thing I learned is patience. And there's a powerful scene in this movie that just spoke so much volumes to me, especially when it comes to patience. The one that really spoke to me was when Serena, when she was in the the opening in the little archway to the tennis arena, and she was standing there, and Richard saw, he first thought it was Venus, but it was actually Serena, and she was standing there because she was looking like, yo, like, when is it my turn? When is it my moment for me to shine? Because Venus is older than Serena, and I keep forgetting about that, but Venus, it was her time to shine and to play and to break these records and to do all this stuff. But Serena was like, man, when is it my turn? When can I shine? When can the world see what I can do? And I love how Richard, like, he's like, but there's a plan. We got to stick to the plan. And it was such a powerful thing, because I think that myself too, because it's like, dad, like, I'm sitting watching people around me being successful, growing, doing things that I always want to do, and here I am, like, saying, like, God, when is it my turn? When can I have my moment? When can I shine? And that's such a powerful scene. I'm not going to get too deep into it, because I think you should go and watch this movie and see it yourself. But it was just really, really powerful to really get to our mindset of, you know what? There's a time for everything. And that's going to go into my fourth one, which is timing is everything. And sometimes we don't want to shine in the wrong time. There's a timing for everything, and I'm learning that there's so much that's going on right now for me, and the timing is like, wow, like, I'm so glad I'm getting it now rather than it being later, because if I did later, it wouldn't have been of value. But now that the timing is right, everything makes sense. And so patience is a virtue. It sucks because it's like, dad, like, you want to go so much, but you can't because it's not the right time. So one thing that definitely in this movie was patience. Your time is coming. You just got to be patient, still grow. And I know that when, he took the girls away from playing junior leagues, they're like, why aren't they playing? They're so amazing. They're ready. He's like, it's not the right timing. I don't think they're ready yet. But it was also because he was fearful, because he didn't want them to fail. He didn't want them to be disappointed and all that other jazz, but it's all a power of growing, because you can only shelter for so long, you know what I mean? And so, but he had a fear, but at the same time, there was a time, and sometimes we don't know, and sometimes we do know the time, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we just have to take that leap and like, wow, the whole time maybe I should have just stepped out because of fear. Because fear sometimes can hold you back too. Like, yo, like maybe it is the right timing, but you may feel like you're not ready. And that can happen too. So it goes both ways. But at the same time, timing literally is everything. And so in that moment, patience is something that we all have to have. And I'm still learning patience too, knowing that one day my time will come, and until then, I'm just going to keep growing into who I'm supposed to be until that happens. So that is great. And the last thing I learned is know your worth. And that's something that I know that Richard wanted his girls to know, is their worth. He didn't want them to just go with anything. He didn't want them to take any deal. He knew their worth. And he knew that people are going to try to cheat them. And that's one thing that I think is very important that we all know as we're learning and moving in life, is just know your worth. Just because somebody hands you a check of XYZ doesn't mean that's your worth. He knew that his girls was more than what the world had to offer, but they had to wait for the right moment to know, okay, I will take that deal. And that takes a lot of patience, but it also takes a lot of discernment. And I love the fact that when there was a moment for her to choose, do you want to take this deal or not? She had a choice. Am I going to go with this, or am I going to, because it just fell in my lap, or am I just going to wait for a minute because I want the world to see my worth? I want them to see that I'm more than what they're just offering. And sometimes you just have to have that discernment. Sometimes you just got to have that right surroundings of the right people to show you that, so that way you don't just hop on something because, oh my gosh, I never had it before, because there's still something more in you that you probably don't even know, that you haven't got a chance to exercise yet, but you have to get there in order to know what is your real worth. And so I just love that, how he trained his daughters to understand that as well, so that way they won't be cheap and cheated by other people who see their worth, because nobody can see your worth better than you and God. Anybody else, they're going to try to give you what they think you're worth, but if you know you're worth more, go for that. But those are the lessons that I definitely learned from this movie. And but the biggest thing is there's a plan. There's always a plan. And if you don't really know the plan yet, just take some time to figure that out. And whatever your goals and dreams are, just stick to it no matter what. And one thing that I know is a planned life is going to have obstacles, so you can't get around from that. There's going to be some hurdles that we all going to have to jump through. I know for me, there's hurdles that I got to jump through that I really don't want to jump through, but it's the only way I'm going to get over it. But it's not we can only make it. We have a choice based off our perspective how big we want to make the obstacle. Do we want to make it huge, or do we want to belittle it and say, yo, this is very, very tiny? It's all about our perspective. And so I just think that no matter what you have in life, just stick to it and know that there's always a plan for you, no matter what you think or no matter how you feel. And I know it's like, well, this happened and life happens, and it does. But just know that there's a purpose and plan and destiny that is inside of you that's been meaning to get out for a while. And if you ever feel like you don't have a plan, if you ever feel like life doesn't matter, just know that it actually does matter, and you do matter. And so, but the only person that can find that is you. And not only you, but also if you choose God to help you out, he can, because he has a plan for you too. It may not feel like nah, but it's like, stop and think about it. We're all, to be honest, we're all made in the image of God. So how we think, as far as, like, for instance, if you have a plan of starting a business, you already in your mind have a vision of what that's going to be, and you plan it out based off of what you think it should go and how it should go. That's your plan. And then next thing, you act upon it. And if you have that mindset of that, that's how God purposed all of us. He already had an idea and a vision of what he wants, and he already set the plan in place. And now you're just walking through it. God already saw the end result for you. He already saw it. He already planned everything, but it's all for your good no matter what. But that's all that I have for this review. I hope you guys liked it, and definitely go check it out. If you did like it, make sure you hit the like button below, and also hit the subscribe button and hit the bell and turn that notification on. Amazing job to all the actors and the director who all put together this whole movie. And I know that Serena and Venus had to watch it first to actually put their name on it, but the fact that they did, it's absolutely amazing. And just know that there's something great inside of you that could definitely break barriers and things that you just never knew that could happen. But because you're made and because you're creating, because you're here, you definitely can do that. And so I'm really excited for what is going to come out of you. For anyone who's watching this, no matter where you are, your status, or even if you're feeling down, just know that everything is going to work out. Just stick to the plan. Stick to the plan and it will all fall into place. So thank you guys so much. Definitely hit up my Amazon and go ahead and purchase your books. That's going to help you to grow for this year, so you can stick to the plan. And don't forget, y'all, don't just make good choices, y'all, but wise ones.